Gone in 60 Seconds wasn't just a heist film about stealing 50 cars in one night. It was a love letter to the most iconic movie car ever created, a vehicle that transcended its role as a mere prop to become a character in its own right. What audiences never realized was the chaos that unfolded behind the scenes. The production team destroyed 11 Mustangs during filming. Nicolas Cage suffered a breakdown after a near-fatal stunt went wrong. And the legal battles over Eleanor's name have raged for decades, destroying businesses and crushing dreams of replica builders across America. Today, I'm bringing you 20 weird facts about Eleanor, the legendary 1967 Ford Mustang GT500 from Gone in 60 Seconds that changed automotive history forever. 1. Eleanor wasn't actually a real GT500. The car wasn't a genuine Shelby GT500, not even close. What audiences saw on screen was a carefully crafted illusion, a regular 1967 Mustang fastback extensively modified to resemble the coveted Shelby model. Cinema Vehicle Services constructed 11 identical Eleanor cars for the production, each serving different purposes from beauty shots to stunt work. Designer Chip Foose created Eleanor's iconic look, drawing inspiration from the 1967 Shelby GT500, but adding custom touches like the centralized driving lights, unique side exhausts, and that distinctive pepper gray paint with black stripes. The transformation was so convincing that it sparked a worldwide demand for Eleanor clones after the film's release. What's truly ironic? Carroll Shelby, the legendary designer of the original GT500, initially hated the modifications made for the movie, calling them abominations of his design. He later changed his tune when Eleanor became more famous than his original creation. 2. The original Eleanor wasn't even a Mustang. It wasn't a Mustang at all. It was a 1971 Mustang Mach 1 in the original 1974 film. The first Eleanor from H.B. Halicki's original 1974 Gone in 60 Seconds bore little resemblance to the car that would later capture hearts worldwide. That version was a far more modest yellow 1971 Ford Mustang sports roof with black trim, a stark contrast to the sleek, modified Shelby-inspired fastback from the 2000 remake. The transformation from humble sports roof to automotive icon wasn't just about updating a vehicle for a new millennium. It represented producer Jerry Bruckheimer's vision to elevate every aspect of the original low-budget film into Hollywood spectacle. The decision to reimagine Eleanor as a mythical Shelby GT500 rather than use a stock vehicle fundamentally changed how movie cars would be approached for decades. Halicki's widow, Denise, who produced the remake, insisted on keeping the Eleanor name despite the complete redesign, a decision that would later spark bitter legal battles over who actually owned the rights to the car's identity. 3. Nicolas Cage couldn't actually drive Eleanor. He wasn't capable of handling the car's raw power, not safely at least. Despite his character's reputation as the greatest car thief in history, Nicolas Cage struggled with the high-performance aspects of the Eleanor Mustangs. The production team discovered this alarming reality during early test drives when Cage nearly crashed one of the precious screen cars. Professional driver Sway Calloway later revealed that Cage couldn't handle anything beyond second gear without production insurance representatives having heart attacks. The film's stunt coordinator quietly brought in multiple driving doubles for Cage, including legendary wheelman Reese Millen, who performed most of the technical driving sequences. In a brilliant bit of filmmaking sleight of hand, director Dominic Sena used tight interior shots of Cage gripping the wheel, intercut with exterior shots of professional drivers handling the actual performance work. What audiences don't realize is that the intense emotional connection between Cage's character and Eleanor was largely created in post-production. His passionate reactions were filmed separately and edited together with footage of stunt drivers piloting the actual vehicle. 4. The engine sound wasn't real. The iconic roar wasn't Eleanor's actual engine. It wasn't even from a Mustang. That soul-stirring growl that emanates from Eleanor's engine throughout the film, the one that car enthusiasts have tried to replicate for decades, is entirely fabricated. Sound engineers cobbled together a composite audio track using recordings from multiple high-performance vehicles, including a NASCAR stock car, a Ford GT40 race car, and even elements of a P-51 Mustang fighter aircraft. The actual Eleanor vehicles used in close-up shots were far less impressive under the hood. While they appeared to pack supercharged 428 cubic inch engines, most screen cars were equipped with standard 351 Windsor V8s, producing a modest 300 horsepower. Enough for basic driving scenes, but nowhere near the performance suggested by the soundtrack. Sound designer Eric Lindemann spent 3 months perfecting Eleanor's voice, layering in mechanical details like gear whine, suspension creaks, and body flexing to create what he called automotive method acting. The result was so convincing that aftermarket exhaust manufacturers still receive requests for the Eleanor sound that technically never existed. 5. 11 Eleanors were sacrificed during production. It wasn't just one car. Not even close. The production destroyed nearly a dozen meticulously built Mustangs to create the 9-minute chase sequence. Cinema Vehicle Services constructed 11 identical Eleanor Mustangs for the film, each built for specific purposes. 3 hero cars were created for close-ups and detailed interior shots. 5 were designated as stunt cars, modified with roll cages and reinforced frames. The remaining 3 were shell cars, non-running vehicles used for shots where the car would be damaged beyond repair. The infamous 30-foot jump on GT, the Vincent Thomas Bridge, destroyed 2 cars completely. The first attempt resulted in a catastrophic landing that shattered the front suspension and crumpled the frame. A second car was quickly prepared, only to suffer similar damage. Director Dominic Sena was forced to piece together usable footage from both jumps. What's truly shocking? The production team initially budgeted for only 7 Eleanors. As cars were destroyed at an alarming rate, producers scrambled to source additional 1967 Mustang fastbacks, already rare vehicles, paying astronomical prices to complete filming on schedule. 6. The real Eleanor disappeared for years. The hero car vanished. Not temporarily misplaced, but genuinely missing for nearly a decade after filming wrapped. The primary hero car, the pristine Eleanor used for close-up shots with Nicolas Cage, mysteriously disappeared shortly after production completed. While the studio claimed it was safely stored in their collection, rumors swirled that the vehicle had been quietly sold to a private collector in Japan, or was being hidden due to ongoing legal disputes over its ownership. The truth emerged in 2013 when the car suddenly appeared at a Mecum auction in Indianapolis, causing a bidding frenzy among collectors. The Eleanor hero car sold for an astounding $1.1 million, a record price for any movie vehicle at that time. The seller remained anonymous, fueling speculation that someone with inside connections had essentially borrowed the car for over a decade. What made this particular Eleanor so valuable wasn't just its screen time, but its completeness. Unlike the stunt vehicles, this car featured the fully functional nitrous system, custom gauges, and the personalized Go Baby Go shift knob, details that had become sacred to fans of the film. 7. The chase scene. Shut down Long Beach for weeks. It wasn't filmed in a controlled environment, far from it. The production effectively took over an entire city. The climactic chase sequence paralyzed downtown Long Beach, California, for a staggering 28 days as production crews transformed city streets into a high-speed playground. Local businesses reported losses exceeding $2 million as streets were repeatedly closed with minimal notice. City officials nearly revoked filming permits twice during production after stunt drivers exceeded agreed-upon speed limits, reaching velocities over 120 mph on public roadways. What viewers don't see are the 80 California Highway Patrol officers stationed at intersections throughout the route, the 6 ambulances kept on standby, or the 2 medical helicopters that remained on call during the most dangerous stunts. Insurance underwriters demanded these precautions after reviewing the ambitious stunt plans. The infamous scene where Eleanor slides beneath a semi-truck trailer was filmed without digital effects. A real stunt driver piloted a modified Eleanor with a lowered roof and removed windshield at 60 mph, clearing the trailer by less than 3 inches. This single shot required 2 days of preparation and 12 attempts before being successfully captured. 8. Iconic mistakes. Made the final cut. They weren't perfect takes. Not by a long shot. The film's most celebrated sequences contain obvious errors that editors couldn't remove. Eagle-eyed viewers can spot at least 7 distinct continuity errors during Eleanor's bridge jump sequence. The car launches with its headlights on but lands with them off. The driver's side mirror disappears and reappears between shots. Most noticeably, the car clearly sustains heavy front-end damage that magically repairs itself in the next scene. These weren't oversights, but necessary compromises. Director Dominic Sena admitted in the DVD commentary that the bridge sequence was cobbled together from multiple takes using different cars, some of which were destroyed during filming. With a limited number of screen-ready Eleanors remaining and mounting pressure to complete the sequence, editors were forced to use whatever footage survived. The most obvious mistake occurs during the famous "Gone in 60 seconds" boost itself. When Memphis first approaches Eleanor in the parking garage, it's clearly a different shade of gray than in subsequent scenes. This car was a last-minute replacement after the intended vehicle was damaged in an off-camera accident. 9. The interior was pure Hollywood fantasy. It wasn't historically accurate, not remotely close. The interior was a completely fabricated environment designed for dramatic effect. Eleanor's cockpit bears almost no resemblance to any production Mustang from the 1960s. Production designer Jeff Mann created an entirely fictional interior combining elements from various vehicles with pure Hollywood imagination. The centrally mounted nitrous oxide switch, activated by the iconic "Go Baby Go" button on the shift knob, would be physically impossible to install in a real GT500 without significant structural modifications. The distinctive green glow of the gauges, now widely replicated by enthusiasts, was selected specifically to complement Nicolas Cage's eye color rather than for any period authenticity. The custom steering wheel, while appearing vintage, was actually a modern Grant model wrapped in hand-stitched leather and artificially weathered to create the appearance of age. Most deceptively, the dramatic dashboard countdown clock that appears during the bridge jump sequence was entirely added in post-production. No such feature existed in any of the actual vehicles, though it's now one of the most requested features by fans building Eleanor replicas. 10. Eleanor is legally a character, not a car, not a vehicle, not a prop. In the eyes of the law, Eleanor is recognized as an actual character with legal protections. In a precedent-setting legal battle, Eleanor's unique design was classified as a character with intellectual property rights, making it the only car in cinematic history with this distinction. This wasn't just legal maneuvering. The courts established that Eleanor's distinctive appearance constituted a character portrayal rather than simply a modified vehicle. This ruling has devastated the replica car industry. Numerous builders who created Eleanor-inspired vehicles have been served cease and desist orders, with some losing their entire businesses. In 2020, Denise Halicki, widow of the original film's creator and executive producer of the remake, successfully sued Mustang restoration specialist B&D Classics for $1 million after they built a single Eleanor-inspired custom car. Go ahead and like and subscribe, because I'm about to reveal how this legal classification affected even celebrities. In 2020, Carroll Shelby's own company was prohibited from creating Eleanor Edition Mustangs despite Shelby's role in creating the original GT500 that inspired the movie car. 11. The GT500 badge was deliberately misleading. It wasn't officially sanctioned, not by Ford, not by Shelby. The iconic badging represented a legal gray area that eventually created a trademark minefield. The decision to badge Eleanor as a Shelby GT500 created friction between the production team and Ford Motor Company. Ford initially refused to authorize the use of the Shelby name or GT500 designation, forcing producers to create slightly modified versions of the badges with subtly altered typography that would appear authentic on screen, while technically not violating trademark law. This sleight of hand worked for the film but created massive confusion in the automotive world. After the movie's release, countless Eleanor replicas appeared featuring unauthorized Shelby badging, triggering aggressive legal action from both Ford and Shelby American. In a bizarre twist, many replica builders were pursued not by the movie's rights holders but by Ford's legal team for the unauthorized use of Shelby trademarks. The situation became so convoluted that Carroll Shelby himself admitted confusion over who actually owned the rights to what. During a 2007 interview, Shelby remarked, "I designed the damn car, but apparently I need permission to call it by its name." 12. Eleanor's crash scenes used real vintage Mustangs. They weren't replicas, not fiberglass shells. Real, increasingly rare 1967 Mustang fastbacks were destroyed to capture authentic crash footage. In an era before convincing CGI was affordable for vehicle stunts, director Dominic Sena insisted on using actual vintage Mustangs for Eleanor's destructive scenes rather than modern cars modified to resemble the classic fastback. This decision, while creating visceral authenticity on screen, has been widely criticized by car collectors as cultural vandalism. Production designer Jeff Mann later revealed that the team consumed 11 authentic 1967 Mustang fastbacks, vehicles that now command prices exceeding $250,000 each in restored condition. The film's vehicular casualty list represents nearly 1% of all surviving fastbacks from that production year. The most controversial destruction occurred during the junkyard crusher scene, where a complete restorable Mustang was sacrificed, despite protests from crew members who offered to build a convincing shell around a damaged modern car. Producer Jerry Bruckheimer reportedly dismissed these concerns with the comment, "We're not making a documentary for car collectors." 13. Eleanor was built to be amphibious, not just roadworthy, waterworthy. One specialized Eleanor was secretly modified to operate after complete submersion. For the sequence where Memphis drives Eleanor off the Vincent Thomas Bridge, the production team constructed a specialized amphibious version capable of limited operation even when fully submerged. This modified Eleanor featured sealed electronics, a self-contained oxygen supply for the engine, and special buoyancy chambers built into the doors and trunk. The amphibious capabilities were never fully utilized in the final cut. The original script called for an extended sequence where Memphis would drive the partially submerged car along the harbor bottom before emerging at a different location. After 3 failed attempts resulting in costly water damage, the sequence was abandoned and replaced with the simpler crane extraction shown in the film. Stunt coordinator G.A. Aguilar later revealed that the amphibious Eleanor remains the most expensive single movie car ever built, with modifications costing nearly $1.2 million in today's dollars, only to be used for approximately 15 seconds of screen time that could have been achieved with standard effects techniques. 14. Eleanor's design almost killed the film. It wasn't an easy approval. Far from it. The iconic design nearly derailed the entire production just weeks before filming. 3 weeks before cameras were scheduled to roll, Ford executives rejected the initial Eleanor design, threatening to withhold permission to use the Mustang nameplate. The original concept featured a more radical departure from the classic Shelby aesthetic, including gull-wing doors and an exaggerated front splitter that Ford felt bastardized their iconic pony car. This 11th-hour design crisis forced the production into a frantic redesign phase. Chip Foose and Steve Stanford worked around the clock for 72 hours straight, producing over 30 alternative concepts before landing on the design that would eventually become iconic. The compromised design retained enough classic Shelby DNA to appease Ford while incorporating the unique elements that made Eleanor instantly recognizable. What's remarkable is that the final design, now considered automotive perfection, was essentially created under duress, with Foose later admitting he wasn't entirely satisfied with the compromises but had no time for further refinement. Eleanor's look was born from crisis, Foose later said, not from the usual creative process. 15. Nicolas Cage's crash was real. It wasn't scripted, not planned. The terror on Nicolas Cage's face during a key sequence was genuine fear for his life. During filming of the Los Angeles River Basin chase, Nicolas Cage was behind the wheel for what was supposed to be a simple driving shot when he lost control of Eleanor. The car, which had been modified with a stiffer suspension for better camera stability, proved unexpectedly difficult to handle on the concrete surface. Cage overcorrected after hitting a wet patch, sending the car into a spin that narrowly missed a camera vehicle. Director Dominic Sena, recognizing the authentic panic on Cage's face, kept the cameras rolling and incorporated the near disaster into the film. The sequence where Eleanor appears to briefly lose traction in the river basin wasn't choreographed, but was a genuine moment of chaos that the quick-thinking director captured. After this incident, producers enforced a strict no actors driving policy for any sequence involving speeds over 40 mph. Cage reportedly didn't object, later telling interviewer James Lipton that the experience gave him a profound respect for stunt drivers that he hadn't previously appreciated. 16. The Go Baby Go button was added by Cage. It wasn't in the script, not part of the original design. The film's most memorable detail came from an unscripted moment of actor inspiration. The iconic "Go Baby Go" inscription on Eleanor's nitrous activation button, now replicated on countless merchandise items and replica builds, wasn't part of the production design team's plans. During rehearsals, Nicolas Cage improvised an extended dialogue with the car, addressing Eleanor as "baby" repeatedly while practicing his driving scenes. Inspired by this character choice, Cage requested that the phrase be added to the gear shift button the night before shooting the nitrous oxide activation scene. Property master Guillaume Delouche hastily created the custom piece, expecting it to be a minor detail. Neither man anticipated that this small improvisational addition would become one of the film's most enduring images. The "Go Baby Go" button has since transcended the film itself, becoming a cultural shorthand for unleashing power and taking risks. It's been referenced in everything from NASA mission control rooms to Silicon Valley product launches. When SpaceX designed their launch activation systems, engineers reportedly included an Easter egg label reading "Go Baby Go" on an internal test button. 17. Only one original Eleanor still functions. They didn't survive. Not most of them. Of the 11 cars built for the film, only a single complete functioning Eleanor remains. The brutal filming schedule claimed victim after victim from Eleanor's ranks. 3 were destroyed in the bridge jump sequence alone. 2 more were sacrificed for the climactic police chase. Another was crushed for the junkyard scene. 2 were cannibalized for parts to keep others running during the grueling production schedule. Wrap day, only 3 intact Eleanors remained. Of those survivors, 1 was severely damaged in a post-production accident during transport. Another was disassembled for a touring exhibition that never materialized, its components scattered among collectors. Only a single complete functional Eleanor, the hero car used for close-ups with Nicolas Cage, exists today in its original condition. This sole survivor has become one of the most valuable movie cars in existence. When last sold at auction in 2013, it commanded $1.1 million. Experts believe its value has at least tripled since then, potentially making it the most valuable American movie car of all time. Its current owner, a private collector in Dubai, has reportedly refused offers exceeding $5 million. 18. Eleanor's paint color doesn't actually exist. It wasn't from Ford's color chart, not from any manufacturer's catalog. The iconic shade was created specifically for the film and cannot be exactly replicated. The distinctive pepper gray with black stripes that made Eleanor instantly recognizable was a proprietary mix created exclusively for the production. Paint specialist Dennis McCarthy developed the formula through weeks of experimentation, ultimately creating a unique metallic finish that shifted appearance dramatically under different lighting conditions, appearing almost silver in bright sunlight, but deepening to charcoal in shadows. This color-shifting quality was deliberately engineered to maximize Eleanor's visual impact across various filming environments without requiring lighting adjustments or color correction. The exact formula remains a closely guarded secret, with McCarthy taking the specific mix ratios to his grave following his passing in 2017. The challenge of replicating Eleanor's exact shade has spawned an entire sub-industry within automotive customization. Dozens of companies offer what they claim are screen-accurate Eleanor paint formulations, though side-by-side comparisons reveal subtle but distinct differences from the original. True enthusiasts often go through 3 or 4 respray attempts before achieving a satisfactory match. 19. The film created a global parts shortage. It wasn't just a movie phenomenon, not a temporary trend. The Eleanor effect created a worldwide shortage of classic Mustang components that persists to this day. Within 6 months of the film's release, the global supply of 1967-1968 Mustang fastback body shells was effectively exhausted. Demand for Eleanor replicas skyrocketed so dramatically that the average price of project condition fastbacks tripled in less than a year. By 2002, even severely rusted, barely salvageable examples commanded premium prices. This unprecedented demand forced Ford to take extraordinary measures. In 2004, the company authorized the first-ever reproduction of complete classic Mustang bodies, contracting with Dynacorn Classic Bodies to manufacture brand-new 1967 fastback shells. These reproduction bodies, originally intended as a temporary market solution, remain in production today, with waiting lists often extending 6 months or longer. The parts shortage extends beyond body components. Original 1967 Mustang steering wheels in restorable condition have increased in value by over 3,000% since the film's release. Authentic period-correct gauge clusters, once common swap-meet items, now change hands for thousands of dollars. The Eleanor effect has fundamentally transformed the classic Mustang economy for over 2 decades. 20. Eleanor wasn't actually fast. It wasn't the performance monster portrayed on screen. Not by modern standards, Eleanor's actual capabilities would disappoint most enthusiasts today. Despite the film's portrayal of Eleanor as an automotive superweapon capable of outrunning modern police vehicles, the actual cars used in production were relatively modest performers. The hero cars were equipped with 351 Windsor V8 engines producing approximately 300 horsepower, comparable to a modern Toyota Camry V6, and far less powerful than even base-model contemporary Mustangs. Performance testing conducted during pre-production revealed sobering numbers that were deliberately kept from the cast. The fully dressed Eleanor hero car managed 0 to 60 mph in approximately 6.7 seconds. Respectable for the era, but far from exotic. More tellingly, the car required nearly 15 seconds to reach 100 mph, a speed that modern performance cars achieve in less than half that time. The film's portrayal of Eleanor's blistering acceleration and top speed relied heavily on creative camera work, sound design, and Nicolas Cage's physical acting. When the script called for Eleanor to hit 160 mph on the Vincent Thomas Bridge, the actual stunt car was traveling at approximately half that speed. Bonus fact: the ultimate twist? Building an accurate Eleanor replica isn't just difficult, it's legally impossible. Courts have established that accurate reproductions of Eleanor constitute copyright infringement, regardless of whether they're called Eleanor or used commercially. This unprecedented ruling effectively prohibits the exact replication of a specific car design, a legal precedent that has sent shockwaves through the automotive customization industry. In 2020, the situation reached a surreal climax when custom car builder and YouTube personality B is for Build had his meticulously crafted Eleanor tribute seized after Denise Halicki's company filed a copyright claim. Despite the builder never referring to the project as Eleanor and making several deliberate design deviations, the courts ruled that the resemblance alone constituted infringement. The ruling established that Eleanor exists as intellectual property independent of the physical vehicles used in filming, making it the only car design in history with this level of legal protection. This means that the thousands of Eleanor-inspired builds that appeared in the decades following the film exist in a precarious legal position, potentially subject to similar enforcement actions. Gone in 60 Seconds wasn't just a movie that featured a cool car. It created a cultural phenomenon that transformed Eleanor from a vehicle into an automotive legend, a mechanical character that has inspired generations of enthusiasts despite the legal barriers surrounding her reproduction. The legacy of this pepper gray Mustang extends far beyond cinema. It fundamentally changed how movie vehicles are designed, built, and marketed. It created an entirely new category of high-end restomod builds. And it established legal precedents that continue to shape the automotive customization landscape today. If you enjoyed these revelations about cinema's most iconic Mustang, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. And remember, sometimes the most powerful legends are the ones we can admire but never truly possess.